What's good, guys? It's Joseph, and today we're going to be animating the phase logo specifically on a path, using a shape layer. I'm not going to be showing you guys how to do like all this like smoke effects and stuff like that. We're just going to be animating the logo. If you want to see how to do like little 2D special effects like smoke, electricity, stuff like that, comment down below and I can do that. But we're just going to go ahead and get into animating the logo in general. Let's go ahead and get started. I got my composition. Here's the settings if you want to see it. It's just 1000 by 1000 at 24 frames per second. But yeah, that's it. So I got the phase logo PNG right here. I downloaded it off of Google. I'm just gonna go ahead and add a fill to it. It's really big right now. I'm gonna put it smaller. And so you can see, obviously, it's the phase logo. We all know what it looks like. If we can animate it just how it is right here, but it's not technically a vector layer, which means the quality that it will be won't look as good as if it was a vector layer. A vector is a graphic that can be infinitely scaled, and you can make it as big or small as you want without losing any quality whatsoever. And that you just can't do that with an image. And you can't animate the path, or you can't like make the parts of it move as if unless it's a shape layer. And so what you can do is just have the logo here and just don't have it selected, and then click the pen tool and you can draw it out, and that'll be a shape layer and you can animate it that way. And you can do that with the phase logo because there's not really that many points to it. It's complete straight lines, no curves or anything. If this were a logo that has a lot of parts to it and it's not as easy to draw with the pen tool, I'm going to show you guys something that you can do to make your lives a whole lot easier. And so I'm going to go into Illustrator and I'm going to make a new project. And I'm going to get that same PNG file that I downloaded off of Google. I'm just gonna drag it in here and it's gonna be really big. I'm gonna make it smaller so it can fit inside of my project. Doesn't matter where it is, really. Doesn't even matter if it's centered. And I'm just gonna click on it, and up here it should have like an option for you to image trace. If not, it should be something that you can add on, but it should automatically come up as soon as you click an image in Illustrator. So you want to click on image trace, press OK if it asks you, and there you go. It's really all it does is turn whatever you're tracing into like a vector, and you can play around with these settings here. I think this one looks fine. Sometimes there's some inconsistencies and imperfections, but in motion, you're not going to notice it. And so you'll want to find a logo that's pretty much black and white. And as soon as it's done, you want to click on it, and this is important. You want to have it selected and click expand. And so what that's going to do is it's going to make a vector, like it makes the shape, it makes the path, like the little points on it you can animate. But if it's a black and white thing, this background is also there. So you're going to want to press Control and click on that and then delete it. And so now it's just the logo by itself. And so now what you'll want to do is go ahead and save this. I'm going to save it to my desktop under Phase Logo AI. And so now you have an Illustrator file that is the phase logo, and that's all you need for this. It's a vector. You can scale it up and down, won't lose any quality. And I'm going to drag that Illustrator file into After Effects. It was on my desktop. There we go. So now I got the phase logo AI. I'm going to get rid of this one, the PNG. I'm just going to delete it out of my project. And so now I can bring the phase logo in here. I can put a fill on it. and I can make it whatever color I want, and I can animate it however I want to. And you'll notice that like it's still not a shape layer, but if you have it as an Illustrator file, what you can do is right click on it, go to create, and then create shapes from vector layer. You do that, it's going to hide the vector layer. You can delete it if you want to. You won't need it anymore. And this is a shape layer. And so you can go twirl down and you can see, you can animate the path, and you can see the path there. And so now that we have that, now we can show you how to animate with the path. So let's go ahead and get started with that. But the part that I just showed you was really the hardest part. Not hardest, but the most, time consuming part. Getting everything set up for the animation. And so I'm just going to show you how I did that one right there. I'm just going to press P on my keyboard for position. This thing should be centered. If not, we'll see. Yep, it's centered. I press, P on my keyboard to get the position. I'm going to move it back out of the frame. And so now it's just moving from left to right. That's how I did it. I'm going to highlight both of these keyframes, right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease, or just simply press F9 on your keyboard. While those keyframes are selected, this right here should be called the graph editor. You click on that. You can either go to value graph or speed graph. Speed graph is really easy to use. It's not easy to read though, but we're just going to use it for now. I had a tutorial going over a bunch of different aspects of, using the speed graph versus the value graph, how to separate dimensions and stuff like that. But I'm not going to get into that for this one. This is just a simple animation. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag it, not all the way unless you want it to be super smooth at the end. We'll go about, around 75% influence on that. And I'm just going to leave this one how it is. So now this comes in pretty smooth. And if you like it like that, that's fine. But we're going to make it look a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and go to the 2-second mark where that keyframe is. I'm going to go twirl down, go into contents, go into the group, go into that path, make a keyframe for that path. And I'm going to make a keyframe for the path at the beginning as well, because technically at the beginning, it's not moving. So you want it to be the same. And I'm just going to go about halfway through these. I'm going to highlight the keyframes that I want to move. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure the path is selected. And then you can just highlight like this and just select the points that you want to move. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to drag it to the left. And then I'm going to do the same thing for these right here. It doesn't really matter how many of these you grab, as long as they don't mess around with the rest of the shape. And so now I'm dragging that one. I'm going to kind of leave it. I'm trying to make it even. If I actually wanted to, I can just grab all of these at the same time and just move them like that. And there we go. Those are the only ones I moved. And I only wanted to move them a little bit. So like, we'll just go like right here. We want it to be subtle. So now as it's moving, you can kind of see that as it's like being shot forward, the back part of the F is like kind of moving to the back. And it's just kind of trial and error. And there's a whole school of thought on how shapes are supposed to move when it's moving, like, in space and yada yada. Just do what you think looks good, obviously. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to easy ease these keyframes as well. I'm going to go into the graph editor. Value graph, speed graph looks the same for these, so it doesn't really matter. And I could just kind of just play around with these. If I wanted to make this one like this, you can kind of see it has a look to it. It doesn't look too good because it's not supposed to be like completely slow right here. And so if you go into the graph editor, like when it's kind of like low to the ground like this, it's not really the look that you need. So what I would do is I'll probably drag all of these like this. There we go. And then I'm gonna move this back just like that. I'm gonna move this one forward. No, that's not what I need. Move this one like this. This is like, and this is all like trial and error. Like you just kind of play around with it till you find a look that looks good. And we're gonna go like this. I'm not gonna like, you know, spend the rest of the video playing around with this, but like you get what I mean. Like just make it look good. And you can even move this towards the left or to the right. And this just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But that's really it. Like that's all it is. You just gotta play around with these keyframes, move the path around. The main part of the tutorial was how to get this set up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And like, if you wanted to, you can, on this key right here, you can move these forward. That might have a look to it, but I didn't personally make that choice when I was animating this. But like, you know, if you were having it go up, like say it was going from the bottom of the frame up, I can highlight these keyframes right here and kind of move them up, and then have the rest of it follow. But you get what I mean. Having a shape layer in After Effects is so much better than animating a PNG image or anything like that. So if you guys have any questions or you want to see anything a little bit more in depth, or if you want to see like a tutorial of like a finished product, like we're going through and animating like a whole scene, I can do that too. The videos might be a little bit longer though. This one's a little bit into the lengthy range, but I try to keep them short. But if you're around, if you stick around for the whole video, thank you. You know, leave a like and a comment, stuff like that. I'm just trying to teach you guys the stuff that took me a while to learn, that I didn't really have at my disposal, just like someone to teach me. So if you guys need to contact me or anything, my DMs are open on Twitter. I've tried to read all my comments and stuff like that. Other than that, I hope you guys learned something in this one. I hope you have a great rest of the day. I'm out. Peace.